Part of TOEFL certification, we check something that is very important to you to understand, remember, and that is pronouns. Okay, so if you remember the parts of speech, remember that you have nine parts of speech. Pronouns are some of them that you remember. I told you there exist categorizations. Why? Because we have different types of categories. Talking about pronouns, for example, we have subject pronouns, we have possessive adjectives, we have possessive pronouns, object pronouns, reflexive pronouns, and relative pronouns. So what are these pronouns? For example, let's start with with the subject pronouns. Okay, and we're gonna do it with the first, the second, and the third person in that order. Okay, so the first person, remember, is I. The second person are you, we, and they. And the third person are he, she, and it. Okay? So for subject pronouns, we have this. Let's talk about the possessive adjectives. Okay? Possessive adjectives are a special category. Why? Because they are adjectives. And if you remember, an adjective describes a noun. Okay? And how these possessive adjectives can be considered. Okay? Can be considered pronouns. Let's gonna check it in a minute. Okay? So for the first person is my. Second person, your, or their. Okay? So you have his, her, its. Okay? So now let's talk about the possessive pronouns. Okay? Possessive pronouns are for the first person mine, for the second person your, or their. That's different. Okay? So while you have it here, your is is a possessive adjective, it's yours, and that's very different. Okay? Because for example, okay, let's set an example of this. Like for example, you can say that this is your whiteboard. Okay, so you can understand something in Spanish like este es tu pizarrón. Okay, but it's different because with possessive pronouns, you say the whiteboard is yours. Okay, then in Spanish will be something like el pizarrón es tuyo. Okay, so that's the difference. So for the third person is his, hers, and one more time, its. Okay, object pronouns. Object pronouns we have the same idea. The first person is me, the second person is you, the third person is us. Sorry, the second persons are you, us, and them. And for the third person, we have him, her, and it. Okay? Very well. Finally, we have reflexive pronouns. And reflexive pronouns is very easy to understand because, for example, for the first person is myself. Why I try to mean when I say it's easy to understand. Like for example here, myself is mí mismo. Okay? So these reflexive pronouns are, you can understand them by the ending self. Okay? So in here we have two because we have the your that is singular, that is yourself. Or in other words in Spanish will be ti mismo. Okay? Because exists the plural, remember you have two yous. The first you is singular, that is two, and the second you is plural, that is ustedes. Okay? So, but the way of writing is different because yourself is this for the singular and yourselves is for plural. Okay? Now, check it out. The second person refers to plural. The only one that is singular is yourself. So obviously, for the equivalent of we would be ourselves, and it's the same writing. You check. Okay, so now we have for they would be themselves. You see how it changes? Okay, because remember this is a rule about the nouns, about some irregular nouns. If you remember, let's gonna make something like this. If you see this, it's related to the rule about. Check it out. This is not a pronoun. This is a noun. Knife is a noun. Okay, and it's just one. Okay, so if you want to check, if you want to say what is the plural of knives, okay, knives. But you see the writing changes. Okay, so when if you remember when a word ends with the letter F, okay, so the way in plural or the way you write it, okay, like this, it changes to VES. Okay, so it's similar to this. So we move for the third person, that it will be himself, herself, itself. Okay, so as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different pronouns, but exists one more. Okay, that is the relative pronouns that is over here. Okay, so these relative pronouns are words you are easily recognizable because you can watch them. Okay, and you see, but teacher, you say that who is a WH. Okay, in this case, no, who is a relative pronoun. If you remember more or less on that, it was the topic of subject adjective clauses or object adjective clauses. In that topics, you see that you have two sentences that talks about the same person. Okay, like for example, I know an author. Okay, so I'm talking about the author. Okay, and in the second sentence, I'm talking about one more time this author. Okay, the author writes incredible books. Okay, so in these two sentences, there is something in common, that is the author. Okay, so when you fuse, when you make this, or when you create one big sentence, okay, you have to join them using a relative pronoun, and this sentence will be, I know an author who writes incredible books. Okay, so that's the idea. When you use relative pronouns, remember, one way is the WH words. WH words, you use them when you make questions. What is your name? Where do you live? When is your lunch? What time do you wake up? Okay, those are WH words. But when you use them to join sentences, like the previous one, okay, you use the name is not WH words, is relative pronouns. And a relative pronouns can be any WH word. Who, where, what, when, why, whose, whom, okay, how. So any relative pronoun can be a WH word. Okay? So